Hi everyone, all my dear subscribers are welcome back to the channel, and for all the new birds, my name is Adhip Kundra and this is my third vlog. तो 10 साल पहले जब मैं अपनी नेवी की ट्रेनिंग कर रहा था, I had met a very promising Coast Guard officer, and few months before when I crossed paths with her on LinkedIn again, I came to know that she is a Mrs. India finalist, an entrepreneur, and most importantly a book author. She has authored 2 books too far, and Heels, Boots and Casuals is the first book she authored, and I must say that it is a very interesting read. But before I take you for the interview with Deputy Commandant Vama Gaur, there is another person I would like all of you to meet, that is none other than Captain Venkat, जो कि एक इंडियन आर्मी से retired officer हैं, but he is still on a mission. He is on a mission to get 1 lakh jobs for the veterans, and हम उनको support कर सकते हैं by sharing all the job opportunities that we come across for his platform, that is Zenic. So without wasting much time, let's quickly jump to the interview with Vama Gaur. So guys, अभी हमारे साथ यहाँ पे हैं the versatile, the talented and the gorgeous Vama Gaur. So ma'am, welcome to the channel and thank you for sparing time for all of us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here on your channel, and I hope I'm able to enlighten you with all my experiences and whatever I have grabbed in the years of my life.
So ma'am, before we start, how about we have a quick introduction?
Hi, greetings viewers. I'm Deputy Commandant Vama Gaur, retired from the Indian Coast Guard, a sister service to Indian Navy for all those people who don't know about it. I joined Coast Guard in 2011. Before that, I completed my graduation, my engineering from Amritsar College of Engineering and Technology. It was from 2006 to 2010. I worked for good about 6 months in a corporate after my engineering, and somehow I felt that I cannot fit in that world. So 2011, when I joined as a ground duty officer. And subsequently, I shifted to air traffic controlling, and from there to logistics. 2019, I finished my tenure of good about 8 years in the Indian Coast Guard. And after that, I did not know what to do, frankly, because for me, again, coming back to a desk job, which I had a stint of in my corporate life, I didn't want to do that. So that time, COVID had also come into picture. So I thought, let's start writing. So I started writing my first book. It was somewhat in the services only I started writing. But after writing my journaling and, journaling my entire incidents and my entire life almost, I sent it to few publishers, and that's how I got my first book, my first journaling, which converted to a manuscript, and I got the book published. And my second book came later, like in 2022 itself. 2020, when there was peak of COVID, I became a mom as well. And 2020, along with my kid, Hapster, that is my startup, was born as well. So yes, this is what I've been doing of late.
Okay. So ma'am, would you like to tell us more about the startup, Hapster?
Hapster. So, okay, so I'll keep it both bilingual because it's good for viewers as well. So Hapster basically एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म है, एक मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन है जो बेसिकली होम ओनर्स के लिए है. तो कोविड के टाइम पे हम सबने देखा था कि पीपल आर यूजिंग व्हाट्सएप, फेसबुक. जितने सोसाइटी में लोग रहते हैं उनके पास ब्रेड्स डिलीवर होनी है या फिर घर का खाना डिलीवर होना है. यू कैन टॉक अबाउट एनीथिंग, क्लोथिंग और व्हाट्सोएवर. तो ये जो लेडीज थी, इन्होंने बहुत ही अमेजिंग काम किया था. उन्होंने व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स बनाए थे, फेसबुक ग्रुप्स बनाए थे और सबके साथ लिंक शेयरिंग की थी. एंड यू विल नॉट बिलीव, मेरी प्रेगनेंसी इतनी आराम से निकल गई थी कोविड के टाइम पे, बिकॉज आई कुड गेट goods delivered to my place. The ladies were delivering themselves in societies. I didn't have to move out because COVID का डर था, and they were saying that pregnant ladies should not go out. So मुझे कहीं पे वो नहीं लगा कि there was COVID, because all vegetables and everything was getting delivered very easily to my place. But I saw exactly what problems they were facing, as homemakers. उनके पास delivery वाला कोई है नहीं. They don't have any payment methods. They are continuously telling you to make payments. Even if they have 50 clients, or जब मैंने ग्रुप में देखे थे almost 296 I think is the capacity of participants in WhatsApp groups. So वो पूरा full रहता था. But for the lady, being a one man army, it was very tough for her to, administer everything altogether. So that's how Hapster was born, when I thought that we should give them an online presence where they don't have to, get after clients to make payments. Everything should be done in the form of an e-store where they can, list their products and services both. And it'll be easier for them, जिसमें डिलीवरी इंटीग्रेशन हो, इन ऐप वो हो, बिजनेस टूल्स हो, एंड पेमेंट मेथड्स हो, so that they don't have to run after customers. So they are doing an amazing job. The only thing is we are supporting them and empowering them as aggregators in the form of Hapster.
I must say, ma'am, that's a very amazing idea and a very good initiative. But, ma'am, I think there's more
Thank you.
about your milestones in the life. I came to know that you were also a finalist in the Mrs. India competition. So, ma'am, उसके बारे में भी कुछ हमें
Yes.
बताइए.
2018 में जब मैं सर्व कर रही थी, तब ये मैंने मिसेस इंडिया का एडवर्टीजमेंट देखा था ऑनलाइन। जब मैं ऐसी मेल्स को चेक कर रही थी, उस टाइम पे मैंने चेक किया था ये एडवर्टीजमेंट। सो उस टाइम पे मेरे को आया था ये आइडिया that why not, why should I not participate, even though I'm a serving officer, but I don't think there should be any problem. So मुझे नहीं पता था कि वो बहुत बड़ा एक एक अपने में ही एक केस बन जाएगा, बिकॉज सर्विंग ऑफिसर्स बहुत ही कम आए थे जिन्होंने बाहर के पैजेंट्स में कभी पार्टिसिपेट किया था. So for me, it was a groundbreaker case, and even for everyone in the entire, headquarters, the case went till Coast Guard headquarters, and a lot of files came up into picture. A lot of books were opened. That exactly, can serving officers participate in any beauty pageants? Because beauty pageants are considered, very feminine, and serving officers are not. So that's how the entire picture had come into place. So Air Force se pucha, Army se pucha, Navy se pucha, and yes, they got to know that one of the Army officer had participated, and she won also. I think she won a runner-up position or something like that. So um, that was the time when the case was made, and wo NOC ke liye. So meri aadhi battle was grabbing an NOC from headquarters and participating. So when I got the NOC, I was pretty happy. मैं बहुत खुश थी, लेकिन there was no mentor who could actually tell us, because I had a junior also who had participated with me. So there was no mentor as such who could tell us that what happens in a pageant. For us, it was all about ramp walks and questions. So questions हमारे लिए SSB वाले questions होते हैं. Generally we are grilled to answer the basic factual questions, but pageants are not about facts. They are all about love, care, persuasion, and how independent you are in your life. All those things which are little fictional as well. So it took a toll on me. The questions took a toll on me, because the question they asked me was that in case if you want someone to walk the ramp, how will you persuade them? So I would always say that I will order them. That's what we have been taught in the forces, to order, and we don't ask क्यों, क्या, कैसे, कर लो please. वो सब नहीं होता है. So that was a big loop, where it was an eye opener for me, and I was like, okay, ऐसे भी questions होते हैं. It is not always SSB and चांद पे कौन land किया था and ताजमहल किसने बनाया था. It was nothing like that. So yes, it was a big, very, very unique experience for me.
तो जैसे कि आपने बताया, there was no mentor to guide you like how to prepare yourself for a beauty pageant. So I'm sure you must have faced lot of challenges, ma'am. So आपने अपने आप को कैसे prepare किया? How did you navigate for this kind of a competition?
So मैं एक चीज यहाँ पे बहुत इसको बहुत बताना चाहूंगी. एवरी डे, इट्स एन एवरी डे वर्क ऑन योर सेल्फ. आप अगर अपने आप को पर्सनली लेते हो, अपने आप को प्रोफेशनली लेते हो, सोशली लेते हो, इमोशनली लेते हो, तो इट्स अ एवरी डे वर्क ऑन योर सेल्फ. हर दिन आप अपने आप को चेक करते हो. एक एक एक्स्ट्रा चीज करनी है. वो जो 5 मिनट 10 मिनट आप कहीं पे भी अपना एक्स्ट्रा दोगे. लाइक मैंने एक एग्जांपल मैं आपको बताती हूँ. जब मैं हैपस्टर के लिए इंटर्न्स लेती हूँ, तो आई हैव हर्ड अ लॉट ऑफ इंटर्न्स हु आर रेडी टू पे फॉर द इंटर्नशिप. जैसे कि ठीक है, अगर हमें इंटर्नशिप लेनी तो क्या हमें आपको पे करना पड़ेगा? आई सेड यू विल नॉट पे. आई एम सपोज टू पे यू, बट सिंस इट्स अ स्टार्टअप, देन इवेंचुअली वी विल डू इट. वी विल गिव मनी टू यू फॉर दैट. बट व्हेन यू आस्क देम टू वर्क, तो दे से दैट ये हमारी ड्यूटी का पार्ट नहीं है. एट द एज ऑफ 22, एट द एज ऑफ 25, अगर आप ये चीज बोल रहे हो ये मेरे ड्यूटी का पार्ट नहीं है, when will you learn, how will you learn? You cannot have confined thoughts, you cannot say ये मेरा है ये मेरा नहीं है, you have to learn everything every day. जब बॉस भी कोई बोले कि यार 10 मिनट ये एक्स्ट्रा करके ये एक्स्ट्रा काम कर दे, सो पीपल थिंक कि ये क्यों करूं मैं, ये इसके मुझे पैसे नहीं मिलते हैं. इट्स अ वेरी रॉन्ग अप्रोच. आई फील कि जब तक आप 40 के नहीं होते हो, यू शुड वर्क, यू हैव टू वर्क इन एंड आउट, यू हैव टू लर्न एवरीथिंग. देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू गाइड पीपल, यू विल बी एबल टू लीड, यू विल नो देयर प्रॉब्लम्स, यू विल नो देयर सर्कमस्टांसेस. आपको पता चलेगा एग्जैक्टली कौन सी चीज कैसे काम करती है, ताकि आपको कोई बेवकूफ बना के ना चला जाए. बिकॉज दिस इज वॉट हैज बीन हैपनिंग ऑफ लेट. तो एक चीज जो मुझे थोड़ी डिफरेंट लगी अपने में, दैट मैंने कभी किसी चीज को ना नहीं बोला है. जो भी अपॉर्चुनिटी आई है, जैसे भी आई है, किस टाइप की भी आई है, आई हैव नेवर सेड नो. आई हैव ट्राइड माई बेस्ट टू टेक आउट टाइम फॉर दैट एंड डू इट, चाहे वो कोई भी रीजन हो, चाहे वो कुछ भी.
मैम आई टोटली रेजोनेट योर एक्सपीरियंस. मतलब मैं भी ऑडियंस को बताना चाहूँगा, इट्स लाइक we should always be willing to step out of our shoes, right? It gives a wider
Exactly.
perspective to us, a broader range of experience that we can actually have if we are willing to step out of our shoes. I remember, ma'am, like when I was posted on a ship, so like my commanding
Mhm.
officer used to give me anything that was related to IT just because I was an IT officer. So I worked on missile systems, I worked on cameras, I worked on any system that had even a 1% of IT equipment associated with it. So it was like कि मैंने कभी ये नहीं बोला कि ये मेरे ड्यूटी का पार्ट नहीं है, ये मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी का पार्ट नहीं है. बिकॉज माई माइंड सेट, माई अप्रोच वॉज कि ये करने से मेरे को कुछ नया सीखने के लिए मिलेगा.
Exactly.
And as you
Exactly.
rightly brought out, we get a lot of learning if we are willing to step out of our shoes.
Exactly. Just imagine, like you being an IT engineer, you are working on missile systems. It's a huge thing. I mean, I'm myself from IT. I've done my BTech IT from Amritsar, and I know that I have been into like writing a book was out of picture. I mean, it was like, no, how can someone become an author? So people used to ask me, "आपका क्या expertise है? आपने कैसे किताब लिखी?" So I don't think you need expertise. All you need is experience, a good plot, and the will to do it. So that will comes when you're experienced enough, when you take, bad decisions, and then that converts to experience, then you take good decisions, and then finally success comes. So that is the chain which is being followed. जो आधे लोग पहले वाले स्टेप पे ही खत्म कर देते हैं कि भाई हम ये काम क्यों करें. So I think that is where the problem is.
So, ma'am, your journey from Hapster to writing your first book and subsequently your second book. So, how did that transition actually happen? So, आपका source of inspiration क्या था to write your first book?
मेरा सोर्स ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन था कोविड.
Okay.
Lot of time in hand, no socializing. एंड आई मीन उस टाइम पे आई बिलीव कोविड एक ऐसा टाइम था जो आई डोंट थिंक कभी किसी को मिलेगा. जिन लोगों ने बहुत सक्सेसफुल होना था वो कोविड में हो चुके हैं, बिकॉज दैट टाइम दे यू नो few people there are two people what I feel in COVID. There are few people who were waiting for COVID to end. There were few people who were waiting for COVID to maybe not end and get more time so that they can actually continue with their venture. A lot of people have amazingly वो बहुत ही अच्छे से टाइम उन्होंने निकाला है, बहुत अच्छे से टाइम को यूटिलाइज किया है to make something out of it. They have had startups, they have started doing trading, they have built their health, everything. So there are actually two type of people. So मेरे time पे जब COVID था, I had conceived that time and I couldn't drink, I couldn't do anything, I couldn't socialize. आप कितना phone पे बात करोगे किससे? So that was a time when the second book came into picture, Hapster came into picture, when I thought, let me just try to utilize this time in the best possible way. So that is how writing came to me. Journaling, yes, I had started doing when I was in the services. मैं journaling करती थी. मुझे नहीं पता था कि वो book में convert हो सकती है. When I sent it to publishing houses, they said we want the rest of the book as well, which I had not written. So I took about just 20 days to finish off my book and send it to the publishers, which they really liked, because the first book is all about 4G training and how it can change your perspective in life, and it's a complete transition from being a young young introvert girl to a very strong-headed, fierce officer of the Indian Armed Forces. So that is the book all about. So it was somehow my story, and I was enjoying writing, the entire writing process. So I think that's how it came into picture.
So मैम आप ये बताना चाह रहे हो कि ड्यूरिंग द टाइम ऑफ कोविड यू वर ऑन योर फैमिली वे यू फाउंडेड हैपस्टर
Yep.
एंड यू इवन स्टार्टेड राइटिंग बुक.
Yes.
Wow, that's
Yes.
that's like too much on a plate altogether. So how did you manage all these things? If you look at me, I'm just focused on one thing at a time, but you're just multitasking here, and you've really achieved great heights with all the initiatives that you've taken. So आप ये कैसे manage कर रहे थे, ma'am? I would really like to know that.
Okay. So one thing what I've learned from services is self-discipline. Now I'm not talking कि हाँ भाई self-discipline सभी ये ज्ञान देते हैं, self-discipline कर लो. कैसे करना है self-discipline? First thing I did was I made it very clear to myself कि मुझे चाहिए क्या. अगर आप आज किसी 40-year-old person से या even 50-year-old person से पूछोगे ना आपको लाइफ में क्या चाहिए, they're very confused. 20 वाले तो है ही, बट लेटर ऑन ईयर्स में भी पीपल आर वेरी कंफ्यूज कि उनको चाहिए क्या लाइफ में. सो फ्यू पीपल विल बी लाइक नहीं अपना टाइम निकल रहा है, टाइम हो जाएगा, कोई बात नहीं. सो दैट थिंग यू हैव टू सिट विद योरसेल्फ, minus all people, sit with yourself, think exactly what do you want. So for me I wanted fame, I wanted money. Was little secondary because I just come out of my services, so money was little secondary, but I wanted fame. I wanted to utilize this time. I wanted to fill up my resume, not stating the fact that I was pregnant and I couldn't do anything. Pregnancy is not a disease, it's something which is very much beautiful, and you get all the time in the world. At least before the baby is born, you have a lot of time in hand, and I think that is the best time to utilize. So for me, that was the thing that I wanted to fill my resume with a lot of things. Second thing what you can do is make check off list. अगर आपकी check off list होती है, अगर आप उसको religiously follow करते हो अगले दिन, वो आपकी एक हैबिट बन जाती है. वो हैबिट आपको कंटिन्यूसली लॉन्ग टर्म में बहुत काम करती है. मैंने बहुत लोगों को देखा है जो किताब स्टार्ट करते हैं लिखना और 10 पेज के बाद खत्म कर देते हैं. कुछ लोग हैं जो दिमाग में अपना आइडिया लेके घूम रहे हैं लेकिन वो नहीं लिखते हैं. लॉट ऑफ क्वेरीज कम टू मी कि मैम मैंने 20 पेज लिखे हैं, अब मैं आगे क्या करूं. खत्म करो उसको. आई मीन दैट्स व्हाट आई कैन से, फिनिश इट ऑफ. बिकॉज आप कैसे कुछ करोगे जब तक आप उसको खत्म नहीं करोगे. वो खत्म करना मेरा काम नहीं है, वो आपका काम है. सो यू हैव टू फिनिश ऑफ व्हाट यू हैव स्टार्टेड. वो जो कंसिस्टेंसी है ना वो लैक करती है. तो वो 100% में से 50% लिखना शुरू करते हैं, 50% में से सिर्फ 20% खत्म करते हैं, 20% में से सिर्फ 10% पब्लिशर्स को भेजते हैं और 10% में से सिर्फ 5% की पब्लिश होती है. तो दैट्स हाउ द प्रोसेस. तो अगर आपको वो 5% में आना है, यू हैव टू वर्क. इट कैन नॉट हैपन कि आपने सोचा और हो गया. इट विल नॉट हैपन लाइक दैट. सो सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन, कंसिस्टेंसी इज वन थिंग. नेटवर्क नहीं करते हैं लोग. सो okay, so there's very lot of difference between networking and socializing and partying. तो लोगों को लगता है हमने सर पार्टी कर ली हमारी नेटवर्किंग हो गई. No, it doesn't happen like that. So LinkedIn पे, like if you see LinkedIn, I'm sure you're also very active on LinkedIn. So from Instagram to and Facebook, I think it is good that we shift to things like LinkedIn and Quora, where there are actually people interacting and they are giving their, they will actually enlighten you with a lot of things which you don't even know. Quora में the questions which I see on Quora are, phenomenal. जो आपके दिमाग में कभी आएंगे भी नहीं. So those questions actually give you a new insight, a new perspective towards life. So वो चीज आप कर सकते हो. Then as I told you, don't shy away from doing that extra bit everywhere. You have to do that extra bit. Only then you will stand out. That's how you will grab a new skill. And last thing, it's a secret. मेरा secret है. So what I do is I make a matrix. एक matrix है, आपने देखा होगा. You make a tabular form of diagram. उसमें आप professional. Yes, yes. So professional, personal, emotional, physical, and what else you can write? Financial. You can write. उसके अंदर आप grid बनाते हो. And every day you put numbers in that, or every day you put text in that कि आज आपने क्या वो extra किया which is building up your personal profile, और आज आपने वो क्या किया जो professional profile को build up कर रहा है, या आप socially क्या किया, आप कितने लोगों से मिले, कितने लोगों से आपने बात की. So all those things are required. When you see that table at the end of the year, you actually feel how much you have grabbed, how much you can put in your resume. So I've seen a lot of people putting resume में कि भाई मैंने इस साल से इस साल तक 8 साल में मैंने ये किया. They don't talk about the interiors. They don't talk about कि मैंने वो क्या extra किया. So I always include being a mom in my resume because for me that is also an achievement itself. And लोग कहते नहीं, it's only professional. Your growth is not only professional. It is everywhere. You have to do your bit everywhere in every field. Personal, health. मतलब आप इतने मोटे हो गए हो एंड देन आप जाके 10 लाख 20 लाख कमा रहे हो. दैट इज नॉट how it should be. You have to balance out everything in your life, and that's how you grow as a person. So I think ye follow karke maybe you'll end up somewhere
So
at a better
basically,
place.
setting the right priorities is the way to go, and probably that will help you navigate your way to whatever you want, whatever you desire in your life.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell us a little more about your books. You have authored two books so far, and you can share the name of the books of the audience. Probably some of them may even be interested in going and buying them. Even I'll be the first one after this interview to go and buy them. So tell us a little bit
Definitely.
more about these books.
So my first book is the name is Heels, Boots, and Casuals. The book is the name is very unique. A lot of people ask
Very
me, but
captivating,
so
I would say.
basically, yes, yes. So it's like a girl who's wearing heels to a girl who wears boots, and casuals are all the casual relationships she goes through and how it transforms and transitions her into a very strong-headed woman. So this story is somewhat related. When people write a book, the first book they write is always about themselves. So somewhat I can also say that book is somewhat about myself, about the training, about the transitioning which has happened like in these 33 years of my life. So heels, boots, and casuals are all about that. And the Mughal Harem. So I started reading this. I'm a reader. I read a lot. So I read this book, The Mughal Harem by K.S. Lal. So when I read that book, I I was not a history fan initially when I was in my college or in my even in my school. I was not a history fan. But when I read this book, I realized that जो हमें पढ़ाते हैं हिस्ट्री बुक्स में वो जो लास्ट के 2 चैप्टर जिसमें विमेन ऑफ मुगल एरा बोलते हैं, जिसमें सिर्फ 2 पेज होते हैं, वो 2 पेज नहीं है, वो पूरी 200 पेज की किताब है. मतलब people don't talk about facts. People don't talk about what how prevalent and how ambitious and how important the women were, how important their roles were in the Mughal era. So when I read that book, that was a time when I wanted. It's a very factual book, so I had to fictionalize it a little bit so that people are able to read it like a story and grab the facts as well out of it. So the Mughal Harem Secrets Untold, the book is there. It's available on Amazon, Flipkart. So I mean, in case if you want to go through an amazing and shocking incidents of exactly what would happen within the Mughal Harem, um, then definitely you should read this book.
ओके मैम. तो मैम, जब आप ये बुक्स लिख रहे थे तो इनको लिखते हुए आपको ऐसा नहीं लगा कभी कि why are you actually doing this? Sometime you may have felt कि there's too much of work involved. There must have been a lot of
What?
reiterations in the books. So did you ever felt like taking a step back?
Yes, I did. You're absolutely right. जब मैं किताब लिख रही थी, एक टाइम पे आपके पीछे आपको देखने वाला कोई नहीं होता है. नो वन केयर्स आप लिखो ना लिखो. आपको नो वन इज देयर टू चेक यू ऑन योर वर्क. नो वन इज देयर टू टेल यू आप एक गलत लिख रहे हो या आप एक सही लिख रहे हो या आज आपने 1000 वर्ड नहीं लिखे, दिखाओ क्यों नहीं लिखे. नो वन इज देयर टू चेक यू. नो वन केयर्स. सो जब आप एक बुक लिख रहे होते हो, जब तक आपकी वो किताब पब्लिश नहीं हो जाती है, तब तक लोगों को लगता है कि आप क्या लिख रहे हो. आप कुछ मतलब हाउ डज इट मैटर. आप कुछ लिख रहे हो, आप चलो कुछ भी लिखते हो, इट डजंट मैटर. तो जब तक वो आर्ट जो पब्लिश नहीं होती है बुक, जब तक आप वो उसको साइन करके किसी को नहीं पकड़ाते हो, तब तक पीपल डोंट बिलीव इट. एंड उस टाइम तक वो बिलीव को रखना, उस टाइम तक सेल्फ मोटिवेटेड रहना बहुत मुश्किल है. इट्स वेरी टफ. Every day you are going through that grind of getting up, taking your laptop and writing, which people may never read, which you may never submit to a publisher. So वो जो authors block आता है, वो जो आप टाइम निकाल के 10 मिनट भी लिखते हो एक दिन के अंदर, वो भी बहुत ज्यादा टफ है. इट्स वेरी टफ. दैट्स व्हाट आई सेड, सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन. तो मेरी जो चेक ऑफ लिस्ट होती थी कि कल 500 वर्ड लिखने हैं, तो उसको मैं अबाइड करती थी, तभी मैं लिख पाई. अदरवाइज शायद से मैं नहीं लिख पाती. वो मोटिवेशन आप हर दिन नहीं डाल सकते अपने अंदर. इट्स वेरी टफ, स्पेशली विद अ बेबी ऑन बोर्ड. It's very tough. You know it.
I totally understand it, ma'am. बट बीच में आपको कभी ऐसा लगा कि मेरे को फीडबैक लेना चाहिए, probably I should share these pages with someone and probably ask them कि how is it actually coming out?
Yeah. Yes, I did. My husband, he helped me a lot in this. मैं अपने husband को continuously देती रहती थी pages कि भाई पढ़ो and you just tell me, exactly how is it going, and just to get that what do you say, extra validation on my work कि सब कुछ सही लिख रही हूँ नहीं लिख रही हूँ. तो पहली बुक के लिए मुझे बहुत हुआ था ये. सेकंड बुक के लिए मैंने ज्यादा नहीं मांगा validation because to be very frank enough, वैलिडेशन एक टाइम पे फिर आप उन लोगों से मांगना शुरू करते हो जो वो पास चल चुके हैं. राइट, आई वुड डेफिनेटली गिव इट टू अ पर्सन हु हैज रिटन अ बुक and I ask for comments from that person rather than a person who doesn't even like who doesn't even like reading. There are people who have been commenting on my book who don't read. So I don't take it. Frankly, I don't take it because at one point of time I feel आपके पास कुछ होना चाहिए to know exactly what reading is all about, what writing is all about. Otherwise, if you start listening to everyone, then I mean, audience हमेशा 10% will be very good and 90% will be critics, and जो बाकी होंगे तो they will keep comparing you everywhere. So yes, you need to know what is the battle which you have to fight.
So I understand. So it's very important to ignore that criticism. Though criticism is
Absolutely.
healthy, but
So,
unwarranted
हाँ,
criticism is also not required.
unwanted, yeah. You should know which battle to fight. You cannot fight with everyone. You can just listen and sweetly, if you feel अगर उसमें worth it है, तो आप please उसमें ध्यान दो. नहीं है तो फिर just sideline कर दो. You have to do that eventually.
So, ma'am, जब आपकी बुक पूरी रेडी हो गई, so how did you approach the publishers? Did you face any challenges with the publishers, finding the right publishers for publishing your book? So, how did you go ahead with it? Basically, I want you to guide the audience if somebody wants to walk this path. अगर कोई अपनी बुक लिखना चाहता है कि मैं उसको पब्लिश करवाऊँ, तो आप उसको क्या टिप्स देंगे?
ओके, सो अगर आप अपनी बुक चाहते हो कि पब्लिश हो जाए, सबसे पहले यू शुड बी कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट योर वर्क. अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल विल टेल यू ये क्यों कर दिया, ये चेंज कर दो, ये इतना अच्छा नहीं है. तो डोंट चेंज ऑल ऑफ इट बिकॉज जस्ट रिमेंबर जब हैरी पॉटर की बुक आई थी वो ऑलमोस्ट 14 पब्लिशिंग हाउसेस ने उसको आई मीन दे डिड नॉट टेक दैट बुक, उसको रिजेक्ट कर दिया था. सो ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, बी वेरी मच कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट योर वर्क बिकॉज दैट change is endless. Someone will tell you something, other person will tell you something, so don't change any of it. Second thing I would say is that publishing houses, a lot of publishing houses, they're open to manuscripts. So जब आप भेजते हो तो प्लीज अपनी 1/3 मैन्यूस्क्रिप्ट भेजिए या 3 चैप्टर भेजिए या 100 पोएम्स में से 3 पोएम्स भेजिए, बिकॉज इफ यू सेंड द इंटायर थिंग देन डेफिनेटली they can copy the entire thing. So almost 1/3 पार्ट अपना आप मैन्यूस्क्रिप्ट का भेज सकते हैं. Third thing is Penguin, and try for good publishing houses because traditional publishing जो होती है हमारी traditional publishing is very good, like royalty उसमें percentage होती है, plus authors are not supposed to pay anything. A lot of houses are there जहाँ पे आपको authors को pay करना पड़ता है, which मेरी first book में मुझको ये issue हुआ था because I was not aware. Again, I didn't have a mentor to tell me exactly कैसे जाना है, so I paid a certain amount for my first book for the publishing part. But there are few houses which do not take anything from the author. So you can go for good publishing houses, but of course your work should be very good if you want to go for that. And if you need any tips and all, I have my page, Insta page. It is Write a Book with Mama. You can always go in there. I have put a lot of content आपको starting from covering letter में क्या लिखना है to how to get your book published, publisher क्या royalty दे सकता है आपको, and what all to not fall for. So all that information is there on that Insta page.
Okay. And जैसे आपने बताया कि you didn't have a mentor, whether it was at the time of the beauty pageant or be it for the requirement of writing the book. And I'm sure if somebody from the audience is there, they can totally walk up to you if they need any guidance with regards to participate in any of the beauty pageants, be it Mrs. India, Miss India, or be it writing a book, and even yes, perhaps going in and becoming an entrepreneur. But ma'am, besides all
Definitely.
this, I'm sure you have more to it. I also came to know that you are into social causes also. You are actively involved in various impactful activities with multiple NGOs. So ma'am, उसके बारे में भी हमें थोड़ा कुछ बताइए.
हाँ जी. So basically, I was attached to this NGO. It's in Patrikata, Calcutta में. So when I left Coast Guard, जब मेरे 6 महीने कुछ नहीं किया था, I was like, enjoying and chilling my retirement life. So that was the time when I joined this NGO, and I thought that it was always good to give something to back to the environment, back to the society. So that was the time when I started teaching these underprivileged kids. एंड पहले इनिशियली मुझे लग रहा था कि नहीं, मैं क्यों कर रही हूँ ये, या व्हाई शुड आई, व्हाट इज द रिक्वायरमेंट, बट व्हेन आई वर्क देयर फॉर गुड अबाउट 3 years, eventually it felt pretty nice. It was one of the best moment of the entire day when you would go and teach those kids and they would come to you and say thank you. So वो बहुत ही अमेजिंग फीलिंग होती है. एंड आई मीन, दो आपको कुछ मिल नहीं रहा है, बट द सेटिस्फैक्शन व्हाट यू गेट, यू फील नहीं, आप भी कहीं कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हो सोसाइटी को. सो दैट शुड ऑलवेज बी इन पिक्चर, जो मैं पहले कभी नहीं करती थी, विच आई हैव रिसेंटली स्टार्टेड डूइंग. सो यस, दैट इज एन एडिशनल थिंग व्हाट आई हैव लर्नड.
Actually, ma'am, after my second interview with Sheba Ghosh, you're the second person who has actually traveled at the path that is not much traveled. That's you've taken a path which many people may not actually opt for because of the risks involved. So, ma'am, Sheba Ghosh
Yes.
did share one thing with me, that her floodgates of creativity opened when she was on her family way. So, was it the same thing for you as well? Because a lot of things coincide with your maternity.
Yes, yes, probably that is one of the very nicely brought up point. Creative juices are there in everyone. The only thing is that we don't let them, we don't trigger them. And you know why we don't trigger them? Because we don't give time to ourselves. So book writing is all about imagination. You're imagining things and you're writing it down. So the better you imagine, the better you come up with a book. When you talk about Harry Potter, it's all imagination. It's nowhere. It's nowhere. But that lady, she sat. Obviously, she must have thought about it. You imagine things. You give time to yourself. You get away from all those daily activities of partying and of socializing, or of being too much involved in your work. You give time to yourself. And लोग बोलते हैं टाइम नहीं है. प्लीज डोंट गिव मी दैट थिंग. टाइम सबके पास होता है. प्रायोरिटाइज नहीं करते हैं लोग. लोग जब आप ड्राइव कर रहे होते हो, हाँ, लोग 2-2 घंटे 3-3 घंटे ड्राइव करते हैं. लोग ऑफिस जाते हैं, लोग ऑफिस से आते हैं. वो टाइम आपके पास होता है. रात को आप आधा घंटा अगर अपना फोन पे स्क्रॉलिंग नहीं करो, आपके वो टाइम मिलेगा. यू विल डेफिनेटली गेट दैट टाइम. I have seen people जो work culture में, I have seen people take numerous coffee breaks, numerous cigarette breaks. लो, कोई problem नहीं है. But what are you doing in that break is what matters. एक break में you talk to a person, you talk to your colleague, fine. The next break, what are you doing? The third break, what are you doing? So that is the time when you should activate your thinking, your thinking, and you should actually think what next has to be done. What is that extra thing you have to do? So वो time वाला concept मुझे नहीं समझ आता है. पीपल से वी डोंट रीड बिकॉज वी डोंट हैव द टाइम. मुझे लिखने के लिए टाइम मिल रहा है, सो आपको रीडिंग के लिए टाइम मिलना ही चाहिए, बिकॉज यू आर नॉट अप्लाइंग योर सेल्फ दैट मच जितना आई हैड टू अप्लाई टू राइट दैट बुक. सो दैट इज द थिंग आई फील.
Yes, ma'am. I think that is a learning for me also, because many times I also say मेरे पास time नहीं है. But yes, I completely agree with what you have shared. And I agree with that idea कि कुछ करने के लिए हमें time निकालना पड़ता है. Like even for running this channel, I have to take out time if it has my passion involved in it. So and I want to pursue it. So I have
Yes,
to take out time for it. If I want to improve upon my health, I'll have to take out time for it. So yes, prioritizing things in life is very important now. So, ma'am, with this, I'd like to
right.
conclude the interview. And it was wonderful having you on screen. It would have been even better if I could have met you in person. But notwithstanding, just like anybody else, you are again an inspiration for many. I'm sure many people would have derived some very important life lessons from you, be it becoming a mom, becoming an entrepreneur, becoming participating in beauty pageants, or authoring books, and you did it all together and you just nailed it. So I wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors, and keep guiding us.
Thank you so much, Adeep. Thank you for having me over. And any questions or anything, any kind of guidance required, you can kindly text me or text Adeep as well. So I hope that you could find at least some information out of it and maybe some motivation out of it. And I hope to see you, Adeep. Let's see if we can catch up sometime then.
Yes, ma'am. Hopefully, we'll definitely meet sometime. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
But before
Bye.
we conclude the video, you have to say something.
Okay.
Adheep has been doing a wonderful job. Please like and subscribe to his channel. Take care.